Welcome back to Twin Tarot. I'm David.
And I'm Gary.
Today we're going to look at that pesky presidential election that's happening in less than 3 weeks' time as this video goes up. Although it's a little more than 3 weeks' time, as we record it on a Sunday the 13th of October.
There's an election this year? I had no idea.
I know. Who would have thunk? So we're about 3 weeks out, and just looking at the energy, how are the Democrats feeling, how the Republicans feeling, kind of how things are playing out as we get into the home stretch here, the last few weeks of this election. And in a twist, we'll let Gary read on the Democrats this time, and I'll read on the Republicans. So with no further ado and short intros, and for entertainment purposes only, why don't you throw some tarot cards and read the energy in the room?
We're going to read the energy on the Democrats. So as I start this, as I finish my shuffle, if you like this, give us a thumbs up. If you really like it, subscribe. We just hit 13,000 subscribers. And leave a comment. I read them all and I respond to many. So, okay, here we go. Enough of that nonsense. Plug in the channel nonsense. What's the energy around the Democrats? How are we looking for this election? And of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, foundation is the Hierophant. Our government is on the line here. I mean, this is really democracy on the line. And, we got the Democrats and Republicans each looking for the throne, because we know now presidents are kings. So it's really who's going to control this country. Do we want to continue with our little democracy experiment, or do we want to sink into some sort of fascist regime with our favorite ex-president? The cross is the Ace of Swords. There's been a lot of strong messaging. The sword of truth, sword of justice. It's all out there for everyone to see. The Democrats have been really putting the message out there. The Republicans are lying. They tried to steal the election. You've got Project 2025. They're doing their best to expose all of this. Do you really want a king, or do you want a president? Underneath it all is the Nine of Cups. Hopes, wishes, dreams fulfilled. We just want to go back to where we're just a democracy. We don't have to be run by a set of extremists with extremist views that are getting more and more extreme as every day passes. Let's work together again, and let's enjoy this moment. Let's enjoy our little democracy. It's worked so well in the past. In the past, we've had the Five of Pentacles. We've kind of gotten to the point for the Democrats. They lost in 2016. They got the government back in 2020, but they lost the House. And, the House has really been kind of disrupting things. And then the Republicans' messaging has been leaving a lot of people out in the cold. They've been, they're alienating women because of, all of their Supreme Court decisions. Young voters, people who believe in climate science, all these people are out in the cold and they want to come in. Let's see, we got current energy for the Democratic Party. We just want to have our democracy back. We're done with the extremism. I was kind of wondering if this card was going to come up.
What card is it? You didn't say what card it was.
Oh, it's Six of Cups. Okay. So Six of Cups, just looking back at the good old days when we could just fight like good old Democrats and Republicans and not have to threaten our Constitution and our democracy over our disagreements. We don't have to act this way. We can be caring and loving to each other and disagree about what's the best approach for a solution. Overarching energy, the Four of Cups. Right now, the Democrats are looking at the options. They're not happy with the messaging that's coming out of the Republican Party. They're not happy with a lot of the mainstream Republicans that still seem to be going along with MAGA. There are certainly some Republicans that are reaching a hand out to the Democrats and the Democratic voters. But right now, they don't like what they're seeing, what the Republican messaging towards their democracy is, or our democracy. Lesson we learned: the hermit. We got to find that path forward. We can get through this, but we need to be careful, and we need to make that path forward. Outcome is the magician. We're going to manifest this. The message for the Democrats is hope, joy, and love, right? And this is their messaging, and they're going to manifest this messaging. So, from a Democratic perspective, I'm feeling like there's some anxiety currently, but they're going to stick to the message. They're going to stick to the brand, and they are going to go for the happily ever after here. What are you feeling?
I tend to think of the Ace of Swords as being a crusade, and I really think that what's going to be here is that when the Democrats take power, in the past, with the Five of Coins, I have that vision of TV wrestling, where the bad guy reaches out to shake hands with the face, the heels to shake hands with the face, and you can't trust them. The Democrats have reached out to the Republicans so many times to work together for the betterment of the country, and they just keep getting hit with the steel chair.
Yeah.
And I think the Democrats are finally realizing that the bipartisanship was a myth. The Republicans spat on their hand every chance they could get. And now when the Democrats take charge, it's going to be our way or the highway. You want to come along with us? Great. If you want to sit there and pout, go for it, because we're not waiting for you. And that's really the theme Kamala Harris was sticking to, was we're not going back, only moving forward. And what has worked for the Republican for years is to say, but we need bipartisanship. And they only say that when the Democrats are in charge.
Yes.
And then they get the Democrats to not do anything because they drag their heels with the bipartisanship. And I think the Democrats are finally done with it. It's like, nope, we're just going to go. You can come with us, or you can pout, and we're going to create our own future.
Yeah, I like your reading is really resonating with me. It's not necessarily, this spread isn't about are they going to win the election. This is they've already won the election.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've already won it, and the Republicans have made us feel like we're out in the cold. They've been ignoring our warnings and our advice. We're done playing nice.
Yep.
This isn't the way we want it, but I guess we're going to have to forge a new path ahead in order for us to get to the point to where we want to go.
It's literally taking the child with you who's being obstinate, and they're kicking and screaming and having a tantrum. It's like, you just keep walking, they'll follow you. They'll make a fuss, but they will follow you, and then they'll get distracted and they'll stop making a fuss, and you'll eventually get where you need to go. But trying to reason with a terrorist is a waste of your time.
Yeah. Well, I know, speaking as a obstinate child, I could really keep that fuss going for a long time.
Yep, absolutely. It's your job. All right, let's see how the energy is looking with the Republicans as we come into this election here.
Okay, let's make it big so I can see what you're throwing there. Oh, we're going to steal that election, folks.
Yeah, we're going to start with the Five of Swords. The Republicans, there's a real concern that they'll lose the presidency in the House. So I've been harping on this. Their job is the Senate. They're not going to win the presidency. They're not going to win the House. They have to hold the Senate, because if they can hold the Senate, they can be the obstinate child that holds the government hostage to what you want it to do, or basically prevent it from doing what it wants to do. Cross with the Seven of Coins, but people's values are shifting, and it's also driven by money, by the oligarchs underneath here. The Republicans, it's funny. They'll do what the money tells them to do. If all of a sudden the conservative oligarchs want them to go along with the Democrats, they would do it. So with Republicans, it's the money. It's all about the money. And it could be that they're under orders from their betters to gridlock things, and the money will keep coming in. Which is why Trump's greatest achievement was a tax cut for billionaires. In the past, I got the Six of Swords. The Republicans see the election slipping through their fingers. They've lost. They're going to lose the presidency. They're going to lose the House. They got to hold on to the Senate. It's their only hope for keeping things the status quo, which is what they want right now. They want the status quo because that's how they earn their money. And anything they can do to keep that status quo is worth doing. Overarching energy is the Page of Wands. So they have to get their messaging. They're trying to get their base activated. They're trying to get voters activated to come out and vote. The thing is that Trump drives everything with the vote. If voters aren't excited to vote for Trump, they may not come out and vote at all, and they won't vote down the ticket. So this is about ginning up voter enthusiasm. They know they have to get voter enthusiasm up if they want to have a chance at gaining the Senate. So in some ways, Trump apparently has been going to different states that aren't battleground states. I guess he was in California, and I'm not sure he was some other place where, he has no chance of winning. But I think, like in California, maybe he's trying to help Steve Garvey get elected as a senator in California, or something along those lines, or it's just a grift.
No, I wasn't going to jump in on you because I was thinking about that too. It's like, why on God's green earth would he come to California?
Yeah.
It's to fundraise. Pure and simple. There's no way Garvey's going to win. Garvey's down by like almost 20 points. This is purely to fundraise. That's why he's going to those states that he has no hope of winning. He can't turn the tide. So what's he all about? He's all about getting money.
Yeah, Trump is certainly about that. And I think the Republicans want Trump to get out there and stump for the Senate. Get out there to where, get out to Montana and make sure that Tim Sheehy gets elected over John Tester.
Yeah.
Get out to Texas to make sure Ted Cruz holds on to his seat. Get out to Florida and make sure Rick Scott holds on to his seat. Try and, you don't have to worry about Joe Manchin. So, maybe you head out to West Virginia to make sure that Senator Justice is elected there, and just try and get a hold of the Senate. The lesson we learned is the high priestess. It's secrets. It's kind of like knowing how the government works. The Republicans know how the government works, and they know how they can be a cog in the system. Not the least of which is if you hold the Senate, you can hold up all the Supreme Court nominations.
Yep.
The outcome is the Nine of Swords, though. But here's the thing: it's not working. The momentum for Kamala Harris keeps building. It's been a wave, and there was some information about in Iowa. Which is that Chuck Grassley's? Is he senator from Iowa? He might be senator from Iowa. Kamala Harris, I think Biden was down like 18 points to Trump in Iowa. Kamala Harris is down 4 points in Iowa. And while it's still not winning Iowa, if you can make up 14 points in Iowa, what are you doing across the rest of the country?
Yeah, Grassley's Iowa.
Yeah, and thank you. And I don't think Grassley's up for re-election, but you get the idea that if Kamala Harris can make up 14 points in frickin' Iowa, man, which is now within the standard, the margin of error for that particular poll, what does she do in the rest of the country? I think that's what the Republicans are starting to see, is that maybe even getting the Senate might be out of reach.
Mhm.
They're not comfortable. They are not confident at all that they're going to win. They know they're going to lose two. They're going to lose the presidency in the House of Representatives.
Yep.
And now it's just the fight for the Senate.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little four-carder. How big is the loss going to be for the presidency?
Okay.
So how big of a margin of victory are we going to see for the Democrats here? Since we're going there. Okay. We've got the Eight of Pentacles. We're hard at work, showing things of value. You know, it's kind of like highlighting what the House of Representatives should be doing but isn't. You know, they're not doing anything. There's nothing getting done. And, you know, with Harris and the Democrats, we're going to get stuff done. The Star card. Hey, we even brought in Tim Walz. You know, you've got a real powerful team with Harris and Walz. The messaging and what they're showing you that they're going to bring is really resonating. We're going to bring this nightmare to an end. Since 2016, it's been very difficult this last 8 years on the country. You know, Trump's just incessant attacks on the country and the foundations of this country are unprecedented. I mean, we were kind of heading that direction anyways. You know, like the Tea Party was already starting to push us that direction. Trump just took it and threw gasoline on that fire. Oh my God. And, and it's, you know, the Republicans brought this on themselves. It's Trump and his messaging and the whole MAGA messaging is the nightmare scenario. They brought it on themselves, and we're going to bring it to an end because it's the world. You know, this is what our democracy is about. We are going to bring this to a conclusion. I don't know. Those are pretty definitive cards.
Yeah. And your cards in there, you got 8, 9, and 10, right?
Yep.
And I think that would probably indicate a 8 to 10 point spread in voters. So it could be something like it could be a 55-45 Harris popularity win, from like 53 to 55% voting for Harris.
Why don't you join me? I got my clock.
There we go.
There you are. I had this disembodied voice talking to me about numbers, about margins of victory.
Yeah, it's it wouldn't be surprised to see like a 55% of the people voting for 53 to 55% of people voting for Harris. And just because if 55% of the people vote for Harris, it doesn't mean 45% are voting for Trump.
Yeah,
because it could be that 43% vote for Trump and other candidates get like 2% of the votes or something along those lines. So, and again, it could be Harris gets 53% and Trump gets 43%. It's not going to be close.
Yeah, this is going to be
for the general population.
Yeah, it's going to be a very defining victory. It's that too big to rig, too real to steal type of victory at the executive branch.
And if you look at, if there's a 10% spread between the two of them, and was 170 million people voted, or 150 or 170 million people voted the last presidential election.
I think it was 300. Wasn't it about 300? No, you're right. It was about 160, 170 million people.
Yeah, if you have a 10% difference, that's a 17 million vote difference for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump, and Biden beat him by 7 million.
Yeah.
And so, pile in another 10 million votes, which it's a pretty good beatdown. It's also depressing as all get out that Donald Trump could still get 50, 60 million votes out of this country.
And the fact of the matter is, since it's not a popular vote, it's an electoral college, right. It could still be a reasonably close final result because,
right. Those extra 10 million votes could all come from California. Yeah, just like, I think, again, Biden won by 7 million popular votes. California handed him like 5 million of those 7 million votes.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the country, it's like 2 million votes for the rest of the country. We could be better than that.
Well, I'll tell you the comments I'm getting from our viewers, those early the ballots are arriving at the mail-in ballots are arriving at the houses. People are filling those things out, going blue all the way down the page and sending them in. There's a lot of enthusiasm. Now, granted, that's almost like doing a how did I do in the presidential debate poll on Truth Social.
No, but there's a lot of reporting from even like states like North Carolina, swing states, and they're looking at early voting, and they know that the Democrats have been doing more of the early voting, the mail-in ballots, and things along those lines. I was watching one guy who's in North Carolina doing the North Carolina spread. It was North Carolina or Pennsylvania. It was actually, I think it was Pennsylvania. But no, he was doing the spreads, and like, you know, we know that 40% will vote early, 60% will vote on election day, and of the 40% voting early, like 3/4 are voting for the Democrats, and 25% are voting for Republicans. So he does the math there, and on election day, more Republicans were voting, and then he's looking at the swing voters, and he came out with like a 55-45 Democrat win.
Yeah.
When he did all the numbers on that. So, and the polling would tell you that Pennsylvania is like 2 percentage points different or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
10. So, and he was saying, this is pessimistic. I mean, his other thing that he did showed about 11-point victory, and doing it this way with the math was like a 10-point victory. Mm-hmm. But again, it's all about who gets out and votes, and voter enthusiasm. And I think that's where he was trying to hit with it, is that when the Democrats are getting their ballots and they're turning them around quickly, it shows enthusiasm.
Yes, exactly.
When Republicans aren't turning them around as quickly, it's showing less enthusiasm. It doesn't mean they're not going to vote, but they're not as enthusiastic about getting that turned around quickly. Yeah, and if you show that much enthusiasm up front, it probably is going to carry all the way through election day.
Yeah, what I'm seeing in the comments is as soon as it lands, the folks are filling them out and sending them in. They're just champing on the bit to get this vote out there.
Yeah, Michelle and I did not get our votes out because we were in Mendocino at the time, but our ballots came in, and likely they will be filled out and dropped off tonight or Monday at the ballot box.
Yeah, Laura and I turned in ours last Friday. I dropped them off at the ballot box at work, so we are good on this house. And then Jack's got his. He'll be filling his out at school, and we've got Angelina's here as well. So both my kids will be voting. This will be their first election, and they're both voting blue. So nice Republican household that's going total blue.
Yeah, I would have been so proud.
I know. Hey, so thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. If you like this, give us a thumbs up. If you really like it, subscribe and leave a comment. I read them all.
Yep. All right. And we'll catch you on the next video. Take care, everyone.
Hold on a second, Dave. I'm going to give him a secret card.
Oh, no.
Just in case anyone's already stopped watching. So for all of you that stuck around, here's your secret card.
Oh, no, they didn't see it. Oh.
Ace of Wands, go out there and make that message heard. Let's go out there and vote blue, folks.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.